And welcome back to The Zone, everybody. I am Brant Fowler, aka the Gonzo Goose, back with you for another installment of
Volume 4, Top 5.
Alright, so as usual, before I jump into the actual top 5, I do have a few honorable mentions. I've got 3 this week, so I'll go over them very briefly because I know the last week's was very long, the whole video. So, first recommendation, Wolverine and the X-Men #1, new creative team, new volume, new students coming into the school for the summer term. Some of them have already graduated. We jump into the future. We have something going on there. We have Wolverine off doing his own thing, and Storm trying to pull the school together and trying to guide these new kids. It focuses a lot on Quentin Quire and a lot of things. A really good issue. I was kind of nervous about whether this was going to be as good as the previous run or not, but that gave me some confidence in the title, so hopefully it continues to be that solid. So second recommendation, or honorable mention rather, is Turok, Dinosaur Hunter #2, the second issue of the new series from Dynamite Entertainment. Of course, being a Gold Key / Valiant character from many years ago, they brought him back. The first issue I really enjoyed. The second issue I enjoyed equally as well. We see our first glimpse of Turok with the dinosaurs, not quite to the point where they're coming into serious play yet. We learn exactly who the people are that showed up from England to the new world and are trying to take over, find gold and all this stuff. So things heat up. There's unlikely partnerships formed, and war basically started between Turok and these people. So really solid issue. I definitely recommend checking the series out. And final honorable mention is a book that was supposed to come out last month from Antarctic Press. This is a one-shot. It's Steampunk Red Riding Hood. The art is a little bit different, but Antarctic Press, they're known for more poppy manga-ish kind of style, so that's kind of what we get here. We have Granny is driving around on a big makeshift howitzer, steampunk style, and Little Red Riding Hood. She uses some kind of contraption and all this stuff, and the wolves are like, big muscular wolves that are terrorizing towns and trying to steal their food and stuff, and it was very different, but enjoyable read. I would recommend checking it out. It's Antarctic Press does different stuff. They take chances, and I like that. So I was looking forward to this, and I wasn't disappointed. So, all right, honorable mentions done. Let's dive in to the top 5.
Number 5.
All right, coming in at number 5 is a brand new series, a new #1 issue. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this or not because this particular character. Wasn't sure if that would do well for a series, but they took a completely different direction than I expected. I'm talking about Magneto #1. Magneto #1 is basically Magneto on his own. He's separated from everybody, and he's tracking down every person that has assisted any kind of group doing harm to mutants. He is single-handedly just kind of he's driving across country in a pickup truck with a camper on the back and staying at crappy hotels and seeking out these people, and by the end of the issue he discovers something that he wasn't expecting, and that's going to kick off our first arc here as he explores and what's the word, he looks into this case, if you will. Very different look at Magneto here. We get almost like a Hawkeye / Superior Foes kind of thing with the art here, where he walks into a prison at one point, and there's like little boxes highlighting different parts of metal, like keys or handcuffs or a phone or a gun that he could use, and it's just doing that for the reader so we can see that what's going through his mind visually. And it's pretty cool. The art is kind of different, but I like it. I really enjoyed this issue. Actually, I debated putting it higher on the list, but there were a few other books that I really enjoyed just a little bit more. But for first issue, this was, we got our introduction to Magneto. He talks about all his past experiences, his past names, identities, and so forth, and how he's come to be and how eventually he'll pay for his sins. But until he does, other people are going to pay for them now. So it's a very powerful look. Cullen Bunn is the writer. He wrote Venom. He writes The Sixth Gun. He writes a bunch of stuff for Marvel and other places. Gabriel Hernandez Walta is the artist. Very nice art. Jordi Belair, who does a lot of image work, is the colorist on this, and I don't know, just the colors are kind of stark and kind of a lot of shadow, a lot of darkness. Magneto's outfit is pure black and with like little silver touches, and it's a different Magneto, and I really, really like this Magneto, so that's why it lands at number 5.
Number 4.
Alright, so number 4 is Forever Evil, number 6. Yes. This is the book I said in a review, I think, on Comic Frontline that has not gone up yet. But I said I already know what one of my books of the week is, without even having read any other books, and this was it. I expected it to be higher, but a couple other books I read after, obviously 3 books I read after, kind of beat it out. But Forever Evil number 6, the penultimate issue of this series of the entire event, written by Jeff Johns, art by David Finch. We learn the fate of Nightwing. We learn the fate of not the fate, but we learn some things about. We learn the identity of the hooded man that the crime syndicate's been keeping. We see some things happen to the crime syndicate in this issue. It was a really, really strong issue from all those points. We saw all these story points come together, and a lot of happenings taking place in this, and that's kind of really what sold this issue. The art, which I'm usually a huge David Finch fan, I think he's a really good artist, but it was kind of touch and go at times. Some of it, wasn't totally great, but all in all, I thought it was a really, really good issue, and actually wrote up a blog post on Comic Related about it, and it's just a really, really good issue that has me really curious what in the world they could deliver in issue number 7. What's this big power? We still haven't seen this being that has destroyed the crime syndicate's world that brought them here in the first place, but we see what happened to Nightwing, and who is under the mask was just a huge not his identity, but the twist on the identity was a huge surprise, and I really liked that twist, and I really enjoyed this book, so that's why it lands at number 4.
Number 3.
Alright, so coming in at number 3 is an Image title, a brand new number 1 issue by a creator that I kind of enjoy a lot of his stuff. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of his work, but I do enjoy some of the stuff that he does. And I'm talking about Mark Millar, who wrote a new book called Starlight number 1, which if you listen to the latest episode of Zone 4, which is episode 259, you'd know that we talked about that book on the show. 3 out of 4 of us really enjoyed the book. Thought it was a nice tribute, a nice homage to all these classic spacefaring heroes. Art by Goran Parlov, which was really nice, really down-to-earth kind of style, kind of gritty in parts and adventurous in the spacefaring parts. Really emotional issue, I felt. I thought there was a lot of emotional resonance in this issue that you could just connect to. You could feel you got that vibe of family and loss throughout this, and as life goes on and trying to find your way again after some monumentous experience that no one else seems to understand. And I thought it was fantastic. Really solid book. It has me wanting to read the second issue, and hats off to Millar for doing something like this. So I really, really dug it. So that's why Starlight number 1 lands at number 3.
Number 2.
Alright, so number 2 is a book that I think will surprise people. Because some of my friends hated this book. And that seems to happen a lot more often nowadays. But this was actually a pleasant surprise. I went into this book because I'd already heard about all the negative stuff about this book, and I went into this wanting to hate it, and I absolutely loved it. And it almost made number 1, but another book actually really surprised me. But this is Uncanny X-Men number 18, written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Marco Rudy. Now, Marco Rudy did that horrid, I'm sorry, I apologize if you liked it, but to me it was horrid, Marvel Knights Spider-Man miniseries. I did not like his art on that book. I didn't like the writing on that book. I didn't like anything about that book. Here, it is that same kind of creative style of his, where he breaks up panels in abstract ways and does this very it really is abstract, but it's not quite as abstract as the Spider-Man book was. Actually, it's a lot more grounded here. I felt like the way he breaks up panels, to me it felt like it was like Cyclops' beams and going twisty, curvy all over the place, and it kind of gave this this edge to the title. And it was because this particular issue jumped back in time to 2 weeks and then 1 week and then to present day. I don't know, it kind of gave that mental picture. It was like reading little pictures of someone's thoughts, and I appreciated the art here. I thought it was a lot cleaner than the Spider-Man one too, and a lot of dramatic up-close shots of various scenes. This issue was about how Kitty came to be with Cyclops' group, and this is something that we have nitpicked for months now, when Kitty just showed up with Cyclops' group and just was buddy with them and not a care in the world. Now, I'm not going to say that Brian Michael Bendis listened to that criticism and changed his story. It could have happened, or he could have planned this from the beginning, but he basically went back to when Kitty showed up and asked for help and showed us how she got to that point, because when she first showed up, she almost killed Cyclops. Phased hand in the head, and she reminds him of that conversation, how she said she was going to do this, and it was really, really good. I appreciate that they took the time, that Bendis specifically took the time and care and concern for the fans to go back and tell the story and kind of, fill the gap there and make us understand why, she's with them in the first place, and how it came to be, and how she got buddy with him again and got past that point. It was a really emotional and dramatic scene, and that scene alone sold the issue for me. But we also got Kitty and Emma, and those two battling is always great. They realize that Jean Grey and the rest of the original X-Men are gone, and they're frantic and they're trying to figure things out. And this was a fantastic issue that honestly blew me away. And like I said, it was like very, very, very close to being my number 1 book this week. I really love this issue, and it surprised the heck out of me. So that's why Uncanny X-Men number 18 lands at number 2.
Number 1.
Alright, so we're down to the number 1 book, and let me tell you, since I started reading comics, I have not liked this character. I never in a million years would have imagined that this book, of any book, would end up as my number 1 pick for any week. Ever. I never liked the concept. Oddly enough, I did like one of the movies, the Thomas Jane movie, and of course now you'll know that I'm talking about The Punisher, number 3. I don't know, whatever it is about the character, I couldn't get behind a character that just kills. That's his shtick. That's his thing. This new series by Nathan Edmondson is a breath of fresh air for the Punisher, I think. Nathan Edmondson and Mitch Gerads is the artist. Sorry, I had to look it up. I forgot who the artist was, and I don't have the book in front of me. So, the first issue was okay. second issue I thought was really solid and really sold me on who the Punisher was, and I believed it. This issue, like I said about the last issue, this blew me away. It wasn't like this big, oh my god, moments throughout the issue. It was just solid storytelling from start to finish. Just the way each and every element of this book came together. You have Punisher. He checks up on his pet coyote that he found in his buddy, and he's checking on his leg and everything after he loses out, and this is in the beginning of the issue, after he loses out in the battle against Electro, of all people, who was sent there to kind of take him out. You have this lady cop that he's kind of befriended. She's like saying that the law's not working, the system's not working, and Punisher has the right idea, and he's aspiring other people as she fiddles with a Punisher skull ring on her finger, and it's setting up. What's the word? It's setting up these little things that will play out in the future, seeds planted within the series to lead to other things down the line. We have Punisher converging on this on the gang, and he's like, the worst feeling you can get in war is when you underestimate, and then everything breaks out, and then Electro gets involved, and it was just a really, really good issue. I was really surprised. I like this version of Punisher. I like him, kind of in a different place. He's in California, instead of, the streets of New York City. He's, systematically doing all this and stuff, but you see that he's not flawless. He's not this killing machine. He's got heart. He's got care. He's got people in his life, and he's just trying to do the right thing here. And I've never appreciated the Punisher more than I have in this particular issue, and I loved it. So that's why the Punisher number 3, believe it or not, lands at number 1. Alright, so that is the top 5 for this week. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm getting these out a little bit later than usual now. Very busy workload, but what are you going to do? So, really interesting top 5 this week. Really interesting books. Really loving comics right now, I gotta say. Just some really creative stuff out there, and I'm enjoying it. So, hope you guys are enjoying these top 5 weekly picks. Please check back every week and listen to the Zone 4 podcast each and every Friday on zone4podcast.com, comicrelated.com, Comic Frontlines YouTube channel, comicspodcast.com, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere you can find it. Give it a listen. Let us know what you think. This week is episode 260. Chris Ventura is going to be on the show. Not sure who the 4th is just yet. John, Chris, and I. And, not sure what the topic is yet either. We'll see. And Zone 4 is actually going to have a segment in Frontline News this week, so be on the lookout for that as well. Excuse me. And check out comicrelated.com and comicfrontline.com for all kinds of updates, news, reviews, columns, webcomics, podcasts, anything you can think of comic related, you'll find it there. And so just be back with me next week for another episode of the weekly top 5. Until next time, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.